Hi, buddy. Bless you. Bless you.
Listen, if being obsessed with this is wrong, then I don't want to be right.
What are you doing? What are you up to? You playing with your toys? What are you doing? Are you taking it out?